Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Good day. Today is a beautiful day, and I have the opportunity to have here with me a very good friend and exquisite professional on the field of transformation. For the ones who don't know me yet, I'm Tulia Lopez, your communication architect, and I help professionals like you to bring your communication, presentation, and speaking skills to the next level so you can share your gift with grace and grit. And today I have with me Martin Altherr. Martin is here to share with us what we should be looking at, be attentive at this moment of transformation that we are all living in as professionals, as entrepreneurs, as business owners. What should be our focus right now? Martin, I give the floor to you. Welcome.
Thank you very much. And thank you so much for having me, Tulia. It's every time a pleasure talking with you, having exchange and thought exchange with you, because that is so valuable. Also, your knowledge and expertise. I love really talking with you. And thank you so much having me here in your interview. To talk about transformation is actually, for many people, something they seem to know what is meant with it. And many people do know what is meant with it. But I want to start today a bit at another point. I want to start here in the very, very, very beginning. And why do I do so? Because just in the last 2 months, 3 months, where this whole shift happened now on the whole planet, where this annoying stuff started for many people because they lost businesses, they lost jobs, they lost money overnight, they lost really a lot. I had a big flow of people coming towards me asking for my expertise, how I could help them to build their businesses online, or how to make now the change and the shift and the transformation to be again able to deliver to their clients. And what I realized is one of the hardest thing to realize, and one of the first thing I saw with so many, that they thought to have a business. And that is a very, very, very crazy thing to understand. When you are out there as an entrepreneur, you understand yourself as an entrepreneur, you do your big daily hustle, and on a certain point you realize, okay, I have something I call business, but actually it's not yet a business.
Can you explain that to all of us?
Yes, I love to. And actually the very simple description of a business is making and help to people, serving to people, and getting revenues for that, and counting these revenues. So actually the definition of business is making money and counting it. That is actually what makes a business, because otherwise it's a hobby, right? And I met so many entrepreneurs asking them, when they came to me to ask for my expertise, they said, so what can I do now, the next step? My first question was, okay, what have you done offline? And then they explained me a bit, yeah, I help people offline, I have some clients, and I said, okay, how many clients a month? And then came out like, yeah, 2 or 3, or maybe 4, some had even 5 a month. But when you calculate that down to a year, and you are not yet in the high ticket corner, then that is not a business. That is still more or less a start of a business, or even less a hobby. Because business means revenues. Business means a money stream is coming in monthly, or let's say yearly, or let's say at the end yearly. And so many people have not yet the substantial revenues to say, I can live from that. And now they come to the idea, I have something, I cannot even live offline from that, and now I bring it online. So how can they succeed online now suddenly, when they did not even succeed offline now, let's say 1, 2, 3 years doing a hustle and hustle and hustle, but not reaching yet the figures they had to actually reach to call it really a business. And I'm not deprecating people here. I'm not I'm bashing about people. I'm just trying to bring reality on the floor, saying, hey, wake up. If your business is not delivering the income you need to live a year, then it's not yet really a business. It's a starting business, but not yet really a business.
And Martin,
yes?
If someone realizes that they are at this level, what is the next step? What do they have to do?
Yes, the next question I ask the people every time is, okay, how did you generate these 3, 4, 5 clients a month? And often I hear there the next thing, and there they say, yeah, somehow it happened. It just got recommended, or somehow it worked out and I suddenly had. I said, okay, but suddenly cannot be, because something you must have done that somebody reacted on you. And I said, yeah, I dropped my business card here or there, or was talking to friends here or there, and somebody recommended me then, and then I got my first client. They said, okay, that's actually the basic structure you have to keep in your business. You have to be visible. People have to know that you exist, and you have constantly to do that so that people constantly get your message that you are around to help them.
It is, can I say something on that, on this, the frequency? I believe, and I can include myself as well, because we have this feeling that we don't want to be too much on someone else's face. Yeah. However, the reality is, especially in the online environment, we need to be present even more, because there's too much going on. And we think that people saw all the posts that we have posted in the morning. No, we have to do it again in the afternoon, and maybe before even closing your business during the day. So do you agree with me on that?
I totally agree with you, but I agree in one specific point, not 100% with you. It's offline the same. Offline is the same story. Look, if you have a store somewhere in a city where nobody is passing by, what you have to do? You have to put your advert somewhere. You have to be visible on a place where people are passing by. Might it be in the tram or in the train? Might it be on TV? May it be in radio? But you have to become visible, that people know, in the 5th and 6th or 7th row of this main street, there is somebody helping me, because otherwise I will never know. You can wait until you are old and die there if you're not make a noise that you are there. And absolutely. Online, it's the same story. There are old marketing measures. They say, okay, somebody has to see your advert 3 times before there is an emotional reaction like, oh, it exists. Then that has to happen 3 times because before the first connection happens to the advert. That means already 9 times. These 9 times have to happen 3 times. That means 27 times they must have seen you before they make a step towards you. That's very old, already 20 years ago. I was reading that in the book Guerrilla Marketing. That was a measurement, 29 times, 27 times people have to see you before they make a step towards you. And they must have seen you in a specific way. That means a message must have fit to what is your need. So you have constantly to put that message and the need for the person who is there. It's not about forming their need. It's about filtering those people who have the need so that they come towards you. And the same story happens online. And because online is actually in brackets, it's for free, it's not. Business online is exactly the same cost intensive like an offline business. The only thing is you don't have an office to rent. You don't have an office building to have. You don't have to have your office in the best possible position on the street. This you don't need to, but these costs you save there, you have to invest in being visible online. And actually online, you have to go over the noise. And there are so many techniques to happen. And the very important thing here is that most of the people believe if it offline did not work, online it will.
Yeah. And
when it does not work offline, the chance that it doesn't work online is quite, let's say, 50-50. Sometimes online you have, just by being in your Facebook account, some benefits of being more visible, which helps you to attract maybe more clients and customers. Depends if you have a service or if you have a product. And here comes something very specific into it. You have to be very authentic offline, right? Everybody agrees to that. I can meet anybody everywhere. When we talk about business, offline, you have to be authentic, right? Would you agree to me?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So if you have to be authentic offline, guess what? You have to be authentic online.
Absolutely.
And there's the big deal. Most of the people believe they have to be different online because they're online now. And my first study I did in my life was acting. And I remember
let me just
very well.
try to, in case people don't understand what you're saying here. You say they want to be different from us having two different characters, when one online, offline, and one online. Is that what you mean? So they are incongruent?
Mostly in the behavior.
Okay. Okay.
And that is why I bring this example when I was studying acting. I remember very well, as if it was yesterday, one of the first weeks in acting school, the teacher said to us, so now it's time to get on stage and walk over the stage from left to right and come back down and then back to your seat. And I thought, oh, so easy. What is that?
And, I've been there, I know.
The first went to the stage, walked very normal, very easy, as if you walk to a stage, right? Went up the stairs, and suddenly standing on the stage and walking across the stage, it was as if that person cannot walk anymore. It was like something was wrong with the walking. It was different than the usual normal, just walking from A to B. And then came down the stage, and guess what? After the stage, suddenly, this person was walking again normal. And that was so impactful for me to see, wow, there are people really having the feeling, if I go on stage, I have to be different. I have to do something different. I have to, and already the move is different. And the problem here is also with the online presence, when they get into videos, when they go, when they do personal life like we do now, they believe they have to be different than they usually are. And then the thing doesn't come over any more authentic. And that is just one part. There are, of course, many techniques and many systems supporting you to be perceived authentic, because the media online space starts to, like a distorting mirror, starts to distort a bit your appearance. Also here, when I talk just normal, as I would talk with somebody in a normal room, you would say, what is he saying? I have to have a bit pressure in the voice so that I'm active, present on screen. Also, my facial expressions change a bit to be really as I would be normal offline. And there are many, 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 many things, and also ways of doing marketing that deliver the perception of this person is authentic. And then you start to connect.
One thing I have a note to say on that about the presence, because this is the first topic in all my trainings about the presence, because it's about understanding how we come across. And most people, because they didn't have the opportunity, because they were not aware, they don't really know how they come across. And the fact is, when you see yourself then on the screen, and then all of a sudden you feel like, who is this person? This is not me. Yes, that's you. And then the process is, of course, you can upgrade what you see on the screen. You can work on that and improve it. And that is an excellent opportunity also for you to see how you're coming across, if really in reality, for the other people's eyes, because then you can improve your presence offline as well. And what other thing is about the voice, because we hear the voice in our head differently as you can hear me. And when we record, then you hear how people really hear you. And most of the case, especially because, I work most with women, they say, oh my God, I hate my voice. Oh, I sound very childish. Yes, you do. You have to do something about it. These are the things that presence is everything. And this opportunity here to be framed is, I believe people should see as an opportunity to understand more about themselves, align with their brand and with their message.
Absolutely. And look, that is the one aspect of going online, one aspect of being visible in the open space. It goes ahead then with what of your personal story you deliver. What do you give freely, open, visible for everyone? Then how does it relate to the context of your help you deliver and you give to the people? And how you do the technical stuff also. There are so many aspects of going online to be perceived again authentic online, that there is a huge course actually behind to master all these steps, and they have to be mastered, because otherwise it's not really going to function to your favor. Because then you just do something which is nice, which is good for the people, but the people don't perceive it that way, because you're not knowing and not seeing the points have to be covered, that it gets the perception you want. So you just have the own idea in your head how it should be, and you give it out, and the people, you believe the people perceive it that way, as you know that you believe that it has to be, but that's so far off the reality often. And that is why online for many people doesn't function in the first strike. And going back shortly to that many people just say they have a business, but they don't have it yet. I say that to encourage them, to say, hey, start to think before you go online, start to think, how would I do the best out of my business offline? What do I have to add? What are the techniques and the business models I have to have in place anyhow offline? Because guess what? Online, you will need them as well. You need them the same way. And at the end of the day, we still connect to human beings. We are from human to human, and we are going to help human. So we have to bring everything that we have as a human understanding offline, we have to bring as a human understanding online, and then we can connect to people. And then we can really, truly help them. And that makes a so big difference and such a big power, that you really are perceived then as who you are. And that is actually what, I mean, I was talking with you already about the exponential weekends Stefan Logar and I were creating, when we said we want to bring two things together. We want to bring digitization, means all the tech stuff and things that are needed to get really your things online, plus the personal transformation you have to make to understand how to be perceived online as what you are actually perceived offline, and then to put that together in a complete weekend that people can learn there how to do that and why things are not working for them and how things will work for them, so that they really can authentically start to bring their businesses online.
And you mentioned something very important there, which is why it's not working, and getting to this understanding, then the how becomes easier, because then you say, okay, now I know why I have to do something. And then comes back to what we said about the presence, that many people are not aware, is the same as for the business, thinking you have a business without having certain aspects that all the business have to have. And I have, I've been in this online environment here for, let's say, 10 years now, but not systematically, because this was not the core of my business. But now and then I had my channel, I put some videos, and I was there, but not systematically. And now definitely, and I mentioned to you before that I got late in the call because I was recording another video for my channel. So because I understand now that I have really, really seriously to establish a solid and sustainable online presence that is not a secondary thing on my business anymore, is the business. So I have to be here, but with all the consistency, with all my, as you explained very well, expressing and showing Tulia as Tulia is. And it's a process on that. So probably many people feel overwhelmed. We have to understand that as well. I have my Marcus here. He is getting into this world now, and I can see the pain. I can see the pain. There's a lot of things to learn there. But my call to action for people here is that with all the challenges, there's always an opportunity. And this is an opportunity that we have to reach more people, to become more visible, like to expand our business in several different areas and ways. But there is a process. It's about not taking it for granted. And exactly what you said, like, what do I need to do? And from what's my first step, then comes the second, and create this blueprint, which I believe in the exponential weekend, we will get that.
Absolutely. And you know, there is the long way and the shortcut. The shortcut is to learn it from somebody who has done the way, who went the way, and who has his presence, who has his clients, who has his business running, right? And that makes just sense to get it from, that is the way I did it step by step, because I was also once on that point 20 years ago. When I started to do my first business, I also immediately went to somebody who had already businesses and learned from that person in one-on-ones. That was my first mentor. So I could learn how to do things faster. And that gave me the chance and opportunity to build in the last 20 years over 8 businesses. Okay, 2 or 3 I really broke at the wall. I lost also some really serious money. I lost about $500,000 in that journey. But by losing that much money, I learned also so much. And I learned so many don'ts, and I learned so many do's. And I realized that is so worth it for other people, that they just can get from somebody who has done it. Okay, that is how you can do it. That is how it works. And it will work if you straightforward do it. And it will not work if you don't. And there comes even a third layer, and that is your own personality. Because every business, and I'm sure you will 100% agree to that, every business is a reflection of yourself. So that means if the business is not running, it means also something within you is not running. And it might be that there is a sabotage pattern. It might be that there are even a few sabotage patterns, hindering patterns and reasons. They hold you back having the success you deserve, and they have to be resolved. Otherwise, it will not work. You will struggle and struggle and struggle. You can even pay the most expensive money to the most expensive experts and mentors out there. If you're still keeping on struggling with your own patterns and imprints, if they are not transformed to something that gives you the opportunity to get from life what you want, you will struggle ahead. In that moment, and that is what I experienced, because that is why I call myself transformation expert, because I help people exactly to do these transformations. First, the personal, because then they are free. And when they are free of all these things that are holding them back, then they can implement what is needed for their businesses, and they suddenly do it. They say, I hear it often, they say, it's like magic. I have the feeling I don't do different things, and although the results are so different now, because suddenly it works, suddenly I do also the things I have to. Before I was procrastinating with them, etc., etc., etc. And then they can move and get their businesses.
And Martin, a question here. And let's talk a little bit about the event, because I am curious about it. And in the program, because this is 2 things that I'm curious about your event. And I mentioned this to Stefan in the interview I had with him. I'm dying to learn from you and Stefan, you and the transformation, reassess all my hidden sabotage patterns, and with Stefan to learn the tricks here in this techy world. But also I am curious to see how you are putting this event together, because it's a 2 full-day live online event, right? So I know you'll not disclose your secret there, but can you share with us what can we expect when go to this live online event, today's event?
Yes, the first thing you can expect is that you will have a breakthrough. That is something I can guarantee, because I know that those things we go to reveal, you cannot different than having a breakthrough, except you're totally resistant to change. And if you're really resistant to change, which is absolutely also not a problem, but if you are resistant to change, then you know you have to work on that. so that you are open and that you can make transformations for yourself happening, and then you will have a breakthrough. That's definitely a promise. That's the first thing. The second thing is we wanted actually to do it really way different, and we stepped a bit back, because if you start to include too many tech, you need also too many people around it to make this thing really happening. And since Stefan is sitting in Philippines, I'm sitting here in Switzerland, and our wonderful bonus queen, the Astrid Gregorian, is sitting in Geneva. And we said we keep it online and we stay all in our studios to make it happen. So we stepped a bit back from event style like we actually planned it. And it would have been actually really almost like a TV show, but we said, no, that's for the first step way too much. Also, we are applying our let's say hot tips we give to people, we are applying to ourselves to say, hey, make it first basic, and then
learn from it and great.
Yes. Yeah. Then scale it later. So what you can expect there as well is you will get really fundamental insights in how sabotage works. You get fundamental insights why it is so and why it is for every human being so. You get also fundamental insights why also successful people every time come from a certain moment onto a limit. They call it the glass ceiling, where they cannot break through. And there is where their limitations start to get in the game. And there they can also get the help to break through that. And that is why I have the opportunity to work with high-profile people like Benjamin Ayon Yango, which is a Hollywood actor, playing with Will Smith and all these big Hollywood actors, and also with doctors here in Switzerland and over the globe, and with therapists. I have the opportunity to work also with high-profile people because they have also their limiting beliefs just on a different level. So that they are able to break through these different levels. Of course, they need to go through these patterns and imprints which are holding them back. And so you get really an insight, why is this happening and how is this exactly happening and how you can resolve it. There are parts you can really do on your own. You will get also really techniques that you can start already on your own. And if you want to get deeper, there are opportunities, of course, also to working together with Stefan and me in deeper levels. That is a bit from my side. From Stefan's side is coming in a lot of the tech stuff. What is to use, what is definitely not to use, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, so that you get rid of all this overwhelm of not knowing what now, because you have 100 million opportunities. If you go to Google, how to compress a video, alone that you will have hundreds and thousands and hundred thousands of results, and now you should choose the best option. And if you have somebody who tells you, listen, I have checked them almost all, I know exactly what works and what doesn't work, that is a big relief. Absolutely. And so actually the third thing you get from this whole thing is a relief from tech overwhelm and a relief from business overwhelm. Because what do I really need to do in a business to make a business function? I can tell you very clearly, because I've done it several times and I do it again and again.
And to be honest here, I will praise you publicly a little bit, and which is, I find that the combination that what you're putting together there, the digital and the transformation, which is the personal, very good and very complementary. Because as we know, every change we react, the first reaction that we have inner without thinking is resistance. Yeah. So we immediately, no, why do I have to do this? And of course, this technology, I get my way around technology up to a certain extent because I'm curious and I like, but certain things I don't go there. But I know, I see from my clients now, which I'm helping them to understand about the communication in this new platform, how they can come across, how they can get their message there. It can be overwhelming. They start sweating, literally sweating. So it's important to balance both. So you get the guy to bring you the techie part, and then comes Martin and say, no, hold on a second, relax. Here is what you have to do to make all of this happen in a smooth way. Is that correct?
It is, and it is really the idea behind it, because we saw that many people are lacking actually of a lot of basic stuff because they hear already high profile actions, but they are not yet there. And if they are not yet there, they have to take first really the different steps in between to really make it a success. And that is, in my heart, so important, because I'm full-heartedly an entrepreneur. I had the big luck, the humble luck, to start already as a 16 years old with my first video studio and audio studio, to be self-employed. So I was supported from a home that just let me do whatever I wanted to experience in my life, although my parents both had no idea about business. They were artists, my father painting artist, my mother painting artist. So they were artists and they had nothing to do with business. They had no clue about business, actually. But they let me do whatever I wanted to do. And I had the chance then to get my mentors on board, which I had then also to pay on my own. But I did that way. And so I think it's so important, if you have your heart with the idea to create your life independently, means that you really can decide what and when and how you do things, and when and what and how you do those things you are most interested in. Then you have to build your own business. That is just the only way it can work. And of course, this business has to boom. It has to budge. Why? Because only when you earn a certain amount of money, you just can relax and say, okay, and now I can give the impact to this world I want to, because I don't have to run after money anymore, because it's flowing, it works. It's just something I have installed in my life as something that works properly. And now I can really focus on those things I really want to do in that life. And that is so important. And I see so many people wanting this, but I see so many people failing with it. And that is why Stefan and I said, we have to get together. We have to put something together to make that happen, that people can go those steps to create that freedom for themselves.
You said something here that I want to comment on. And when you say about that some people see what's happening, it's too far from them. And I can give you make an analogy here is, as I talked to one of my clients the other day, I said, listen, it's like you buy a camera for taking pictures. If you are a beginner, why would you buy the top range camera when you're going to use like maybe 5% of it? So you have to be realistic, and that is one step after the other. And then you go growing on that. And then you get curious, then you go expanding. So this also will minimize the anxiety that all this novelty creates when you get into something that you see. We always say, don't compare yourself with others, but we do. That's human nature. But when you start comparing yourself with other people, just stop in and say, hold on a second, where am I here? Where am I? Where is Tulia? Where's Martin? So where am I in relation to them? And then you can see what is your next step to get there. So, and I believe that is the idea behind this event, isn't it?
Absolutely. You know, when it is about 15 years ago, I came the first time in connection with Tony Robbins. Okay. And of course, I was like a sponge getting everything from him. But at the end, to be honest, it was maybe that much of the whole thing I could really absorb and put into action.
Absolutely.
Nowadays, 15 years later, I had again the chance and the opportunity to work really directly with Tony Robbins. And it's now so much from that much I can understand and apply. Means I grew to the systems and techniques he provides. I grew to the things he provides, and I can understand and implement them. But if I get now from zero there, then I get top-notch information, but I cannot apply it because the whole thing in between is missing. And then it happens exactly as you said with the camera. You have a camera that has 100 million functions and 1 or 2 functions you can use, which is actually putting it sharp and clicking the button. That's what you can do when you start taking pictures, right? And you have a camera that can do 100 million things, but you cannot apply them. And that is in business and business mentoring the same story. If you are not yet there on that level point, you don't need to spend 100,000 for a Tony Robbins. You don't need to.
Absolutely.
You can get somebody who gives you also, of course, I mean, nothing is for free, but you can have maybe for, let's say 20 or 30% of what Tony Robbins will cost you in a one-on-one, you can have somebody who helps you and applies really the steps to where you are right now. and helps you to move from A to B, from B to C, from C to D. And from a certain moment on, then you can say, first of all, I earn now the money that I can afford a Tony Robbins 100K to work with him. And then it's good. Then it makes total sense. Then it's a cool thing. But first, then, and not before.
Yes, and the good point there is, as people sometimes, as you, based on what you said there, some people think they're starting, but I don't have the experience, I don't have the knowledge, I don't have enough knowledge, people will not trust me, etc. I always believe that there is someone out there who needs to hear exactly what you have to say at that level. So the question here is, everybody can start in the path of entrepreneurship and the business, and by understanding their level and serving at that level, and then you can always go up. I believe the frustration here is people see that, okay, I'm a beginner, but they want to serve someone who is way ahead. This is not going to happen. So it's important that assess where you are. And for that, we need people to help us, to tell us, and to help us to assess exactly where we are. Because we might get confused, we might not be aware. And even to the good side, sometimes we don't see our true talents and we kind of sell ourselves very short. And we also need people to say, no, you can go ahead. You can go that step ahead. So this is why I'm fully with you that we have to keep growing and keeping looking for people that can help support us at those levels, and even different levels as well, right? We just say, okay, now I get this person to help me on this matter and this level, but I'm aiming to this next step. So let's try to see how I'm going to get there. But one thing after the other, always.
I agree to this. And on the other hand, there is also one thing I like to add, and maybe also to tweak it a bit. I don't believe that everybody can immediately start a business with just something. What I believe is somebody must have went through a way of something other people need, and he knows how to do it. And if he has done that process and went through that process, what he needed actually for himself, and he sees suddenly that is something 100,000, maybe 10,000 people could need as well, and I know how it works. Then he has a business, and then he has a business that works, because then he has done the way, he knows exactly the steps to take, and he can lead others through the path and bring them to the results they want as well. One example I have there is a good friend of mine. She said, I'm traveling through the planet everywhere and here and there and living here and there, a lot of places, and I'm slowly bored of every time buying IKEA furnitures in every place. So I want a part of my living style with me all the time. So she was looking how she could solve that problem, having all the time wherever she was traveling. Let's say she was traveling for half a year being there, then a year being there, how she could move things from A to B and from B to C, and in an affordable price, so that it is not deprecating from the price side, okay? So she was figuring that out, and then she realized that is actually something, there are more people than she doing so and living so and maybe having this wish. So she started a tiny business offering to people and helping people to move their personal things, their personal lifestyle furniture with them to the new place for an affordable price. And by doing so, she realized I had not only a guess and a good market research, it was a huge need. And now she's doing millions with this service. But she was the one who went through it first. And then she led other people through that process. What I see often is people are saying, oh, that's a cool business. That's a cool business idea. I do that now. And now I serve people doing this. And they have no clue about the way because they never went the way. So they're absolutely not qualified helping people to get there because they don't know it on their own. They just read it somewhere. They have just read a book about it. Would you ever learning drive a car by somebody who sit in the car and said, I read a book about how to drive a car, I teach you now?
Absolutely not. Yes, that was not a good point now there, because I meant exactly what you're saying. I believe everybody has the potential to get started on something, but it always comes from your a personal, uh, also a personal experience. I heard this quote somewhere saying, "Your mess is your message." And I really liked, because most people who are very successful on what they do, it's because they went through the problem. And then because, as the example, your friend is my example, and I'm sure it's your example as well, that you went through some mess, that you realize that, oh my God, if I'm here and I managed to sort this out, there are many people that might need the same. So then you get so passionate about sharing it. So yes, exactly that. But again, it comes for the same. You don't write, as many people say, just go there and write a book. No, although I believe everybody has a message inside, but you still need the skills. Not everybody is a writer, and you need the skills, you need guidance, and you need to get the thing right from the beginning.
Absolutely.
Martin,
And I didn't thought that you said so, because I know you and I know how you understand things. But what I realize is people out there constantly ignore the depth of a message. They constantly hear, I can do whatever I want. I can become an entrepreneur and I can make a business. And even online, it's easier because there's anyway everything for free. That is what they constantly hear. And then they go in the topic, and then they're suddenly frustrated, they're suddenly disappointed because nothing works out the way they want. And they are suddenly totally lost, and they have no clue why. And that is why I was just making it a bit more precise for those here who ignore that message, that you have to have the skills. You have to have went through the thing in order to help others going through it.
absolutely. It was a good point. It's good to make it clear. Listen, I could continue this conversation for one more hour, but we both have to go.
Yes.
So before we finalize, what is your last words for my community in terms of what, with this new normal we are living now, and for all the ones there out there, not only entrepreneurs and business, but people even working for companies, what would be your message to them?
Okay, you have everywhere on this planet a chance. You have, even in the deepest, poorest places, and I know what I'm talking about because I know Manila very well, I know Philippines very well, and I know poorest places. And I know people who raise there from zero to hero, who have risen from zero to hero, from starving to making thousands and thousands of dollars. And they're not just the exception from the other millions. There are many when they get the right help. And we were helping there, and that is why I see it, because we were helping there very specific to young children growing in school and getting their things done, and having then expertises in place, because we taught them also how to make business, and they do now business globally. And the message here again is, you can have your chance, and you have your chance wherever you are. The only thing you have to consider, where did I went through, and what is it helping to others? And when you figured out that, then you have a real business, because then many people want your help and you know how to give it, and you must not even study long because you have it already. Then get the right people around you teaching you how to put that in the right place as a business and as an online business. And when you have this, then you have the full package, and you will be on and you will be successful. That's my promise.
Awesome. A very good way to finish, to close. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to seeing you and everybody else next June 6th and 7th for the Exponential Weekend.
Correct.
Thank you so much, Martin.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to bring that message out to your tribe.